Yo, what's going on? And welcome to UEL Game On, your brand new source for Ultimate In Gamers League news. My name is Kendall, and I'm here with my co-host.
Tony, aka Big Easy Button.
Okay, I'm not mad. I'm not mad at it. We got a fresh nickname for the inaugural episode, the brand new start. You know what I mean? Of course, if you're not familiar with us, we're here to bring you the biggest UEL esports news. Will be popping in weekly to kind of discuss things that are going on with the league and kind of break down some of the moves that are happening, what our thoughts are. Give our opinions, both from an insiders and outsiders perspective. We've been kind of paying attention to what UEL is doing for a while, but we'll kind of give a bit of a unique perspective on everything from outside the commentators booth. So uh with that in mind, we're kind of coming up on the start of season 9, and it seems like it's a lot of big changes happening, man. You want to kind of talk us through some of those?
Yeah, man. So as I was going through kind of just looking at how things are going to be structured going forward, I came across thanks to the UEL Esports Instagram page, a video from Cutters who basically said that everybody a free agent. This
Mm,
this is open. Like it's open season for real. We're talking chaos
yeah,
going into season 9, with the Reapers basically, back to back to back, running them up. Um Kind of this thing
man.
where it breaks everything up. And I mean, it 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 opens the teams at the bottom can be at the
Yeah,
top.
anybody can go
Teams in the
anywhere,
middle can go to the bottom where they could be at the top. The teams at the top can end up at the bottom. And this is the
man.
type of thing that I think coming off of how good season 8 ended, this is the type of thing you need to do going forward. It's like in wrestling, you don't want to get out here with the same champion year after year after year unless that champion just happens to be really, really fucking good. You kind of want to split it up a little bit.
Yeah,
So I'm excited to see where things go. And I think over the last week, the biggest news at this point to me has been that New Moon has offered tier 1 to Ricky, who, as you are well aware, I am a fan of. I love the way he played in the championship. Dude was
yeah,
MVP. Um, to me, one of the best players in the UEL. And that's a big move from the standpoint of, do you want to do that?
right,
Or should you do that?
right.
You've established yourself with the Reapers, you've established yourself as a force, and here comes the team that you just beat saying, you know, you're you're Kevin Durant. Come over,
Yeah,
come rock with us. Um,
man.
Now
It,
personally, if that was me in that scenario, knowing how I am competitively, I would do it.
okay,
Or
interesting.
the other option would be I'd go see what like one of the worst teams in the league was
Mm,
talking about.
right,
Because to me, if you're that top level player like Ricky is, you could go somewhere else and be that guy anywhere.
right,
And I think he has the type of talent level and ability and just feel for games where he could take a team straight up to the top. If not number one in the league, top three. I really think he can have that type of effect on a team.
yeah,
So is it that competitive juice in you where it's like, I want to see what I can do with somebody else. I want to see if I can bring somebody else up to the level that
mm,
me and the Reapers were at. Or do you just go, Reapers, that's my people. This is who I want to rock with. This is who I want to keep dominating with, and you go
right,
from there. Like I said, for me, I would probably go in another direction just to test that. I want to test how good I think I am. It's not
right.
about what other people, how good other people think I am. I want to test how good I am.
I
So
respect it.
I kind of hope he does go to New Moon or another team, and then we can see him really, show out.
Yeah, and it's very interesting. Like you said, the scenario that played out with just everything that went down in the season 8 with Ricky between New Moon and the Reapers, it just makes everything just that more juicy that he got offered. That is a real live Kevin Durant situation. But uh also you see that the Reapers kind of drafted him for the same reasons, like to fill gaps and fit that spot because he is that good.
Yeah,
Um I find it interesting, especially coming off of a win. It's kind of like it'd be different if New Moon had won. I think that's a little bit more Kevin Durantish, you know what I mean? So I can see how that might be fitting, especially with New Moon having such a strong season, last season, regardless of how the end of the season went. You know that you would add something to that already fucking phenomenal team. Like they were the only ones to beat the Reapers, during the regular season anyway. So
Yeah.
It's going to be very, very interesting to see how things play out. But I think you're right about season 9. Just kind of feeling like a fresh start in that way, just giving everybody a chance to kind of spread their wings. Teams are going to look totally different. Dynamics are going to be totally different. And it's a great time to jump in. Great time for us to be kind of starting off our coverage, man.
Yeah, I mean, this is basically like starting from zero. I mean, like I said, everybody's a free agent. I mean, New Moon that could break up. New Moon could
Right.
look completely and totally different, come August. Everything is changing, and I mean, the Reapers already took a really good step, kind of bolstering the team going forward by signing QWERTY, who
Mm,
is like one of the best Fortnite players like on the planet, and that's the game they won the championship on. So it's like,
yeah.
okay, if we lose Ricky, we got we got something to fill that gap. So they're doing a really good job of kind of taking that championship mentality. It's like we're gonna lose, but we're not gonna lose. So I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to seeing how they kind of fill things in going
Absolutely.
forward. Um, but yeah, I mean I can't imagine like the stress level for team owners at that point. Like finding out that hey, everything that you had going on last year, it don't really matter.
You can
It
might
don't
as well
really
throw it
matter.
out the window straight up.
Yeah. So now it becomes about how good are you at identifying what you want your team to be?
Mm,
How versatile do you want your team to be? Or are you of the mindset that we're willing to quote unquote punt a couple styles
right.
and be dominant in like three disciplines as opposed to five or four as opposed to five? 'Cause I mean
Which
you
would
can't
be
you can't be less than dominant. You can't be less than dominant in two.
yeah,
Like you
yeah.
got you got to be three minimum. You
Yep.
got to be dominant in three
I
to
would
have a
say that's
shot.
to really make yourself a strong contender on like a championship quality team. Yeah, you would need to at least have a strong set in a few games. But you don't necessarily have to be the best, and that's the interesting thing about UEL is that you can kind of work your way up, surrounding yourself with great players who are already great in these games. Um, like I said, before on our own channel, one of my favorite things that I've heard in UEL is that there's no such thing as being bad at a game. You just need practice. Like just go out there and do it. So you can kind of see potential in people that maybe aren't necessarily performing in games the way you think that they might perform in the future. You know what I mean? Like we talked about Cuddy in the season 8 finale and how there was the whole narrative around him DNF duel and like having practiced that game up so much. And I believe it was DNF duel, could have been Guilty Gear, but one of the two games. But yeah, having practiced that game up so much and putting up a pretty good showing. He ended up
Yeah.
taking the dub and everything, but just having moments like that, the potential there to kind of step your skill set up and show people that you are a contender in these, that's another interesting aspect to it, aside from already being like one of those showstoppers.
Yeah. And I think that at least to me, if I'm building a team, I want my squad to be like like I said, top heavy in at least three of the disciplines. And to
Mm,
me, I think you go fighter, shooter, and sports.
interesting.
I think those are the ones you go in because you saw it in season 8 where there's a very clear line in the sports game because of the time they take to play,
Yeah,
where if you can get a specific lead, you can kill that quick because the other team is probably going to take that forfeit, and you can get out of that quick and into the next one. So I think
facts.
that's one you really want to take advantage of because it's a time thing where I don't have to forfeit. I just have to go up 7 or 8.
Mm,
Now, how
yeah,
much time do you want to waste?
man, that is a good point. Those are the type of things that you don't necessarily think of, and I think that's a good like lineup of skills to have. I think that's your main base of players. You know what I mean? Like that's what
Yeah,
you really need to like solidify your team, and then you can go pick up those people that are good at like CTR, or games that you might not expect, and like just happen to be like goats at those games on top of already being nice at. But sports games is like the real. That's a really interesting like trump card almost to have, just
yeah,
because it falls so far out of certain niches, like things that people are really, really like honed into on the games they play. Some people might not touch them at all. Some people might be great at one or two. Like, you might have EA Sports Football Club down pat, but 2K is not your thing or whatever. Um, it's a weird language. Like, you know, as a person that doesn't necessarily always speak that language, like I didn't grow up playing all the sports games in the world. So sometimes it is outside my wheelhouse. And I can see being good at them. Like, you know, I take to certain games more than others, but like finding out that, you know, what you can really be at a competitive level on is gonna be very fascinating. Just knowing that everyone has to kind of rework everything that they got going on. Not that they
Yeah, man.
necessarily have to completely rework it, but it's open, you know.
But yeah, but you got to adjust. You've got to adjust. You've got to make sure you're tight in all five,
Yeah,
for sure. But
100%.
like you said with the racing games, I think that one's a really interesting one because that's
Mhm.
about as even. I think that's about as even as a type that you can get
Yeah,
because there's really no clear line to forfeit. Because all it takes is somebody screwing up like a turn one time and you're back in it. And
yep,
as long as you have that in your head, you're going to keep going. So
yeah,
then it becomes a thing of, is it strategic for me to just eat this? Or do I really want to push because I just need that person to fuck up one time?
right,
Like that's a really, really hard strategy to kind of work through. Um, and I think, like I said, when you're new moon and you're looking at the way the championship ended, yeah, you go get the best dude on the other team.
right.
Like you just go get him because Ricky Show he can play everything.
Yeah,
Like he can do all of it. It's like in baseball, it's a 5 tool player.
right,
You could do
right.
all of it. So then you get to that point where as long as we have enough people on the team in each week in each competition,
Mhm,
we should be able to get our best player on every game.
right. And
Like
then
if we rotate this right, we should be able to get him on all the important stuff.
and it's interesting. I remember one of the comments I heard during the season finale is that someone like X-Ray Aspect, who I believe they said was brought in for like the strategic aspect of his gameplay, like strategy games, like the, you know,
Yeah.
but then he stepped on those fighting games and he showed and proved exactly like, you know, how versatile his skill set was because he was one of the strongest on the fighting games as well, like on the
Yep.
lowest of keys. He was out there cooking.
Yeah, and that's kind of the whole point of the league is versatility. And then it's not forced versatility. It's not like you got
Yeah.
to step in and you got to be top five at everything.
Mm,
Like it's there's learning to do, there's training to do. All of
yeah.
these things can lead up to that point where, man, you might start off a little slow and then it just click because that's how it all. We're gamers. We're all gamers. That's how it works.
Right.
Sometimes a game don't click for you until 15, 20 hours in. And then all of a sudden, you're just seeing lines of code like Neo.
Yep. Facts.
It's just how it works. So if you get to that point and then you and your team run off a nice little streak, next thing you know, you in the playoffs and you making money.
Man, you never know.
But
Honestly, and then
it yeah, it all starts here though. Like
yeah,
like I said, the team's got to do their scouting. They got to check out the combine. They got to check out these scrimmages. They got to see what guys are doing, and you build your team from there.
yeah.
Like I said, me personally, I would build off shooters, fighters, and sports games. I think that just gives you the most versatility to me because a lot of those skill sets and those three translate to other types of games, and you kind of don't see it until they're playing them.
And it's funny because those are probably like three of the most, I won't say they are the most, but they're three of the most vague genres, like
Yep.
shooters, everything from COD to Fortnite. Like those are totally different styles of shooter, but you know, you can they do translate. The skills do.
Yeah.
As different as they might feel, like Valorant might be totally foreign to someone who doesn't play it, but it crosses over. Fighting game skills somewhat translate. Like I said, fighting games can often speak their own language. You know what I mean? Like they kind of do their own thing, but you can find your rhythm, and once
Yeah.
you find it, you know what I mean. Once you know how that works, it's just about each different game's language. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Because it's a
I feel
foundation, especially with fighting games. It's down to foundation. Like if you have the foundation of a fighting game, you can probably get over into other ones easier than most. Like I've
yep.
told you before, Tekken is like my sixth language. Like I don't have it down yet. Mortal
Yeah.
Kombat, I'm solid. And that'll translate a little bit to Street Fighter for me. But there's
Mhm.
like a line for me between Street Fighter and Tekken where it's like, yo, I'm not, I'm still locking in on this and I ain't found it yet.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it'd be like that. I'm kind of similar, and actually, very much so like Mortal Kombat is kind of the one that makes the most sense to me. You know what I mean? Even though I grew up playing Street Fighter, like I was a Street Fighter kid, 1,000%, but maybe like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like how,
So
Fortnite and games like that, like battle royales are their own complete language. Like, you know what I
yeah,
mean? Even
yeah,
even like
There-
a war zone, compared to Call of Duty.
yeah. And then there's a completely and totally different layer of strategy within battle royales versus like just straight up a team deathmatch shooter. Because I
Right.
mean, you can't like in a team deathmatch shooter, if you're really, really good at it, you feel confident just running through solo, and you could probably knock out 9 to 12 kills on your
Hmm.
own. Man, you go battle royale and try to split up with the group, you're gonna end up going like a horror movie.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, drawing back to the finale there where everything ended on Fortnite and you saw how chaotic and like honestly, toward the end, it did not look like it was going the Reaper's way, but
Yeah,
then all of a sudden it fucking did. Like, it's just kind of out of nowhere, it just kind of happened. So, it can shift in any second and you can really find your like the skill set in those games is totally different and the teamwork is crucial. We didn't even talk about something like Overwatch, which is just
man.
the teamwork
Teamwork,
game.
teamwork, teamwork.
Yeah.
There is no I'm gonna be the man in that one. Nah, nah. That's all down the team. And that's again going into team building. You also have to get the right personalities in your squad because, this is competition. These guys are athletes. I
Yeah.
I will forever call esports people athletes because they are like
I
that.
feel it.
That requires a level of focus is a skill. That's the thing people don't
Mm.
realize. Focus is not like, oh, I can just sit down in the computer and hammer out a 10 page. No, it's a skill.
Dalton.
Like you look at somebody like Michael Jordan, and he would just go out on the court and he would get busy no matter what because he was able to just lock in for
Yeah.
2 hours straight and didn't turn it off. That is a developed ability,
Yep. And
and that's
it makes a
something that a
difference.
lot of these dudes have in this league. So when you get down to that and camaraderie, because at the end of the day, we're all playing games together, you
Right.
want to feel that level of camaraderie like you're playing with your boys. That matters. So when you get into a game like Overwatch and it's, you just got team killed, the other team's pushing, how do you respond?
Right.
Y'all
Right.
gonna lock in? Y'all gonna lock in, or y'all gonna separate and try to get it back? Nah, you gotta lock in, get together, and make the push. Because Overwatch is a slow game. If you end up on your heels, it's slow going getting back. It ain't no we're going to press the advantage or the disadvantage and then just try and just force our way back into it. Nah, you got to kind of lean on somebody with some body shots for a little bit, and then it can start swinging your way, and that's when you start throwing the haymakers.
Absolutely, man. And that's an interesting one. Like that is a very specific example of, Valorant is also in that conversation, but you know, Overwatch is kind of the one that that's my bread and butter when it comes to shooters, and you can just see it when it's working and you can see it when it's not. And
Yeah,
you
it's
smell blood when
obvious.
it's not. Yeah. Yeah.
It
It gets
it's obvious when you got a team on their heels and they just coming out the spawn trying to do whatever.
yep, it gets very real very fast. And
Yeah,
it's going to be very interesting, especially with the whole free agency thing, to see all these different players kind of gel together, who works, who doesn't. Because you're right, it is a real like team environment when you're up there and you're competing. You know what I mean? Like you need people around you that you can feed off of when you're talking trash. Like you need to be able to
yeah.
feed off of that energy that people are giving you. You know what I mean? So it's going to be fascinating to watch how everything plays out.
Yeah, we got some time. Week one starts late August, August 29th, I believe, is the first game, Cobras versus Bandits. So we've got some
So
time to really get down and see like how these teams are building, what the chemistry is like, how
yeah,
guys flow together. Because again, a lot of the like movement is
yeah,
huge.
yeah.
Movement, communication, all of that stuff is huge. So when you're looking at the Reapers getting a guy like QWERTY, who is an elite Fortnite player,
Mhm.
do you, even though he's just joining you, is it a thing where you go, all right, this is your thing. We're going to kind of take your lead on this, and
Right.
you kind of let him head up communication and movement and things like that?
Yep.
Or do you guys come together and go, all right, we have an understanding of how we all like to play together. We can just do that. Because
Right.
as like you get enough time with somebody, you kind of have shorthand, as far as how you move, and especially in competitive shooters.
Oh yeah, you
Sports
have to.
games too. You can get it down in sports games, but is it your style to communicate frequently, or is it your style to kind of give like little, left here,
Right.
round the corner here, and then the rest of it is just fucking telepathy.
Yep. Yep, you gotta have that just kind of clicking without any verbal communication, any type of, you got to be able to get back on the right track when you do fall off, because you
Quickly.
inevitably will fall
Yeah,
off of that right track. Things get chaotic very fast. You
yeah,
see all the different games that we playing, and honestly, one aspect of it is having to switch from game to game and like get into your zone in each different game. You
yeah,
gotta have people that are going to be on it and with it and ready when that time comes. So
yeah, man. It's like acting. like,
yeah,
it's all good when the director say cut, and y'all going through the games and stuff, but the second director say action, yeah, yeah. Denzel got to be Denzel.
listen, you gotta be Denzel. That is the takeaway from episode 1 of Game On. Be Denzel. Make sure that you all keep that in mind. All right, that's how you succeed in this life,
Yeah, yeah,
man.
that's a fact.
Listen, man. Any final thoughts for what you're looking forward to the most out of season 9? Because we coming up, man.
I think the main thing for me is just seeing the team composition. I
Hmm.
think we have a very good chance of, like I said, seeing some teams at the bottom come up, depending on the moves they make.
Yeah,
We have a chance of seeing some teams at the top come down. Um,
yeah.
I
Everybody's gonna look different.
Yeah, everything's going to look different. Everything's going to feel different. If this is your first go around with UEL, like I said, this is the best time to get in because it's not like you're confused immediately the moment you walk in trying to figure out the storylines here. Because a lot of the storylines are going to be down to, hey, this guy used to play for this other team.
Right.
And, he might have some boys on the other squad. And it's trash talk to go on.
Oh
I
yeah,
ain't saying it's disrespectful, but it's trash tag to go on. It ain't no beef, but
it's gonna happen.
that's where it's gonna go. And like I said, to me, right now, as things stand, the biggest potential move is figuring out what Ricky is gonna do.
Mm.
That to me is going to significantly affect the top of things. To quote Kevin Durant, we are worrying about what's going on at the top of things. CJ McCollum can, but we can. Um, so
Yeah, I feel
I'm
you.
very, very excited to see what he does, whether it's staying with the Reapers or going to
Right.
New Moon, or if he just, maybe somebody else is in the shadows lurking. I mean, we're Eagles fans. You remember when everybody thought Namdi was going to the Cowboys, and then Adam Schefter popped up on TV and said he was going to the Eagles. Now it didn't work out for us, but
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
that. It's that type of thing where it's like you don't know who else
Yep.
is lurking.
Exactly. So anything can happen really. And yeah, I love having that big name acquisition at the top to kind of keep an eye out for it. So make sure you guys let us know what you're looking for out of season 9, man. We want to hear from you guys. We want to know what's exciting you, because this is a big jump for UEL. We all can't wait for it, man. So stay tuned for next time. Until then, I'm Kendall. This is Tony, and make sure you game on.